Hi everyone, my name is Luka and I use they, them pronouns. I'm here to talk to you about my civic project where I founded the St. Louis Queer Support Helpline, affectionately pronounced SQUISH. This is a volunteer-run peer support helpline that provides free, confidential, and identity-affirming emotional support and resource referrals by and for the St. Louis LGBTQIA+ community. I want to give a trigger warning for sexual assault, which I'll talk about from slides 11 to 14. So when you first think about this helpline, you might think, another helpline? You might ask, why do we need a queer-specific peer support helpline when several local and national crisis hotlines, including the Tremor Project, the Trans Lifeline, and Behavioral Health Response already exist? Before I answer that question, I want to share 3 very personal stories with you. The first one is my own coming out story. As a trans pansexual person from Singapore, I grew up with painful structural constraints around who I could be. The first time I came out to a trusted adult in my life, my high school teacher said, "I don't judge you, but I think it's wrong and unnatural." I shrank back into myself. Not only did I have to twist and constrain my understanding of myself to appear acceptable to my teacher, I also felt overly vulnerable because we're not peers. She's my teacher and there's an inherently unequal power dynamic underlying my vulnerability. I am not the only queer person who struggles for acceptance from the people closest to us. On a seemingly mundane day this summer, I was wrapping up notes from a previous meeting at the Pride Center when someone wandered in whom I hadn't seen in this space before. To protect his anonymity, I'll call him David. David asked me tentatively, "Is there anyone here?" Having practiced my pitch through regularly introducing the Pride Center, I said, "Yes, welcome to the Pride Center. This is a space for queer people to chill and hang out. Is there anything you're looking for?" What happened next shook me out of my afternoon daze. David said, "I'm just looking for someone to talk to. Can I get a hug?" Slightly taken aback, I said yes. The moment we hugged, David burst into tears. "I just came out to my wife. I haven't hugged anyone in weeks." I could barely focus at work. My coworkers kind of know about me and they're pretty supportive, but I feel so incredibly lonely. I had to drive away from work today because it was getting too much. I didn't know where to go, so I looked up LGBT places in St. Louis. And here I am. I didn't remember anything else from that day, but I remember the 2-hour-long conversation I had with David as he shared his worries about his marriage, his isolation as an older queer adult, and his anxieties around not knowing the hip queer terminology that younger queer people do. "I'm new to this," he would say repeatedly. But why does queer community feel so intimidating that we have to feel queer enough to join? David found some support at the Pride Center space, but I don't want to romanticize the notion of community. My third story forces me to reconcile the pain that coexists with the goodness within our community. During a seemingly celebratory event, our helpline launch party, one of my friends in the community, a longtime activist whom I shall call Josephine, approached me with a worried look on her face. "Luka," she said, "I don't want to alarm you, but I don't know who else I should tell about this. That person whom you were just talking to, they've been brought to court for raping several trans women of color who have been living in the same trans housing unit. They have had an order of protection filed against them. They were the first person I saw when I walked into the event. I was shocked. I myself was raped when I was younger," she said. The pain and horror in her voice spoke to me over the babble of the party guests. I was horrified but not surprised given the disproportionately high rates of sexual violence that trans people experience. What was jarring was that this perpetrator was right here at this community event that I had organized. Josephine then scribbled a post-it note to me with the perpetrator's name on it with a warning note, "Don't let them volunteer." She left. Since then, I've stuck this post-it note on my desk. I read it every day as a reminder of my responsibility to see both the joy and the pain that threads itself through community, without rose-tinted glasses. Josephine shared her story with me because of the trust that confidentiality helps to create. But even a confidential helpline like SQUISH will never on its own be able to heal all the pain that exists within our community. The whole point of peer support is to empower community members to support each other instead of relying solely on professional mental health resources, which are important but often inaccessible. Peer support is unique because it is the kind of identity-affirming relational support that only peers who share similar experiences or identities are able to provide. Like the roots of a tree, we all have the capacity as peers to spread compassion and cruelty within our own communities. This might take some excruciating self-reflection, but I want to challenge all of us, including myself, to think, what are the ways that you might be contributing hope and pain to your communities? Thank you.